Hey, it's been a while. Well, I Won Kacky again, and here's the compilation of my finishes. This took a while to make, so yeah, I hope you enjoy.
it in my bones, let the rest take control now. Control now. My bones, let the rest take control now. I can feel it in my bones, let the rest take control now. Control now. Control now. Let the rest take control now. Control now. I can feel it in my bones. Let the rest take control now. Control now.
This year wanna get murdered, bro, so don't take no talking, I'll show no mercy, just kill them all them, I can't believe it, cause this 160 shots to the ceiling, them other one warfare, then they gotta get two dubs in the red back quickly, find them address about the search engine, go with their fold to delete that, it's Jackie, we did it, anti container with the window open, got this one ringing, they can't believe it with the way we're moving, there's no competing with this position, remember this with us, tell them how we are, kill them all in our tournament, them on the international, all about with us, send them on for the order, them. Man, I'm mad with eclipse of them. Take that there, reciprocant. Us man, I move magnificent. Them man are insignificant. New whip and it's rapid. Boot off in the distance. We can't see no traffic. 1 hour, I'm in the Midlands. I got two St. Lucians. One man from Poland with a few Jamaicans and a couple more Angolans. Man, I'm moving like robots. Y'all are coming like androids. See the order them 8 in. This one's for the fanboys. Everybody want type, but the work's unrivaled. Keep on your thoughts, we don't need your opinions. Came from money, but the background's Irish. All of the other side is West Indians. Lunar eclipse, we late night lurking. Came with a gaff like say you done bought it. Put my foot down to the floor with the whip, yeah. Got the speed down, reading 140. Fluter to lose, now we're speaking French. Can't hear your talks, you know, come on pa. Tell you the truth, with the like them lot, yeah. None of them boy can come around, yeah. Kinda looking like they ain't going any further. They couldn't ever flow like these, cause they're evil. Send us a dude, put a bullet in the sky, yeah. 2-2 vibes and I fly like eagle. Lunar eclipse, all dark in the gaff. Got the curtains closed and the window shut. For anybody saying that they like it, they dirty. Us man about it, flinging muck. Brand new wave, cause the tide is turning. We got the moon rotating round earth. Spin a man round with 1,000 words. Man, I'm at what they look like, blouse and skirt. Cold with the flow, yeah, I wrote this one on the old iPhone with a broken screen. Think you're gonna try test man with a verse like that? You're a fucking aubergine. They ain't never reaching a level like this, but they think that they are, but they actually mad. This one here is a national anthem. Banner in the sky, man, a flag in the flag.
contacts. Frontline never gonna run back. Got mine ready for the combat. Me against them when I'm on that. Somebody should have beg pardon. Cause none of my soldiers are on that. Diplomats speak different jargon, but money talks louder, we got that. Pull up on your foot for the convo. Any loose chat, you be locked out. So we gotta get back to basics. Keep stepping on them like a doormat. Pull up on your foot for the convo. Any loose chat, you be locked out. So we gotta get back to basics. Keep stepping on them like a doormat. Pull up on your block like bailiffs. Got the surgeon ready for the facelift. It's simple, not complicated. So when it's hot, just stay hydrated. It's simple, not complicated. So when it's hot, just stay hydrated.
Yeah, but I watch from the bleach, bleach.
So when it's hot, just stay hydrated.
Water black rose by the dam. The sun up is shine when things grand. Blessings when you're overcome. Just say blessings when you're overcome.
So when it's hot, just stay hydrated. Yo, we make fire bun in any party. Send for water, hydrate properly. Never get irate, never get thirsty. Send them another harpoon for me. If it's gonna be a mad thing, holler at me. Territory expanding, holler at me. Military headgear, gloves and masks. None of them have ever been better than me. Yeah, pull up on your block like bailiffs. Got the surgeon ready for the facelift. It's simple, not complicated. So when it's hot, just stay hydrated. It's simple, not complicated. So when it's hot, just stay hydrated.
Higher than your nature.
It's simple, not complicated. So when it's hot, just stay hydrated.
And then that level the earth is frozen gone. Him never have a knife, him never have a gun before him born. But them have him practice right before him and big in the street. That the wasn't so him and will be eat. Sell a couple of boxes from the back street. And you know there's more to every story. Mama, listen. Hope is where your heart is. Don't give up on this. Don't give up on this. Cause there is life abundance. Life abundance. Cause there is life abundance. Life abundance.
Back, once again.
stone will crumble and slip. You mumbling, bumbling, stuttering, fumbling pricks. I'm coming hunting with the compass at night to surprise you bunkers. Take your face off, sew it to my head and hide amongst you. My lungs are like a random lethal weapon, keep the reaper stressed. And even he was guessing his white sleeves with the western. Everyone's the best of the best in the best division. Put you in a stress position, repossess you at your exorcism. Run 1,000 miles and beat you in your RS6. Throw 1,000 bricks like 100,000 rowdy kids. You couldn't oust me with 1,000 cans of house spray. Even if you burn me, my ashes spill out the outbreak. Turn the whole town upside down. Have you running like Wee Willie Winky just in your nightgown? Walking like a bunch of vigilante witch hunters with the wrong description. Hands on the Bible like a contradiction. But like a contradiction. But like a contradiction. But like a contradiction. But like a contradiction. 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 With the wrong description, hands on the Bible like a contradiction. Like a contradiction. Like a contradiction. But 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 like a contradiction. 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 With the wrong description, hands on the Bible like a contradiction.
Then I woke up the next day and got some gabagoo. Keep waking up and keep getting different types of gabagoo. I even got some gabagoo from Scooby-Doo. Woke up this morning.
Original.